You've heard about the Cuomo scandal involving nursing home deaths. This is Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, deliberately pushing COVID-19 positive patients into nursing homes against the objection of those nursing homes where elderly people, particularly vulnerable to getting COVID, get it and die. Now, in New York, there were 15,000 nursing home deaths. And the governor, partly in order to promote a book, partly in order to keep his image as the kind of the greatest, the most effective, true leadership in dealing with COVID, this guy reported only 8,700 deaths. He hid almost 50% of all the nursing home deaths in New York. And he did this through a network of lies and bullying people and preventing people from reporting the truth. And all of this has now come out. And there's an investigation, in my mind, a bogus investigation, but nevertheless underway on this. Now, turns out there is a very similar scandal brewing in Michigan involving Governor Whitmer. Same story, pushing coronavirus patients into nursing homes and basically killing the people over there. Now, let's look at what we know about this. Turns out that there have been 19,000 deaths in Michigan, out of which 5,600 were in these nursing homes. Now, the problem is that when you look at the data of the Michigan deaths, you basically realize, first of all, that these nursing homes they're not checked in terms of deaths occurring there. There's a sort of a vague kind of honor system that nursing homes kind of report deaths when they kind of get around to it. They're sort of obliged, Scouts honor, to do it. Because remember, people don't necessarily die in the nursing home. You're in the nursing home, you get really sick, you're transferred to a hospital, you die in the hospital, but it's a nursing home death because that's where you got COVID. But the nursing home may or may not report it. Turns out that the Michigan Health Department has a whole bunch of deaths that are completely unaccounted for. In fact, 6,945. They are listed as, quote, vital records reviews. Now, what does that mean? That basically means that Michigan health officials, in going over the data, have found death certificates of 6,945 people dead of COVID, but don't know where they came from. Now, you would think, as in New York, pretty easy to figure out where they came from. All you have to do is look at the death certificate. Remember, a typical death certificate lists the cause of death, but it also lists where the person is staying, where they came from. It lists their address. And so if the address says St. Catherine's Nursing Home, to just make up the name of a nursing home, you'd be like, wow, that's a nursing home death right there. But Michigan health officials refuse to do this audit. They refuse to actually check to see how many of these 6,945 deaths can be traced to Michigan nursing homes. Why aren't they doing it? Because that, of course, would push the nursing home death total even higher. Now, there is a research group in Michigan called the Mackinac Center, and they decided, all right, why don't we do our own study of these death certificates and try to look and see, based on a kind of representative sample, how many of them come from nursing homes. And what they found is it's about 45%. In other words, close to half of all these anonymous deaths can be traced to nursing homes. What this means, if you think about it, is if there are 6,945, let's just say 7,000 unaccounted for deaths, using the rough math of 50%, probably another 3,500 deaths can be attributed to nursing homes. So we've got 5,600 deaths already. Add another 3,500 and you get over 9,000 deaths. So once again, what's happening in Michigan, very similar to New York, they're hiding the bodies. They're not revealing the data. So look, it's one thing to say that Gretchen Whitmer made a horrible decision in dispatching these patients to nursing homes. That's a bad public policy decision. That's a public policy decision driven by ignorance of how you get COVID, who's most vulnerable, and so on. But what's even worse is you don't provide public transparency. Having made a mistake, you try to now smuggle away the data so that people who are scrutinizing what's going on with the government can't find out where these debts came from. So the bottom line of it is we're now seeing, and thank God, this is the good news, this is the silver lining, there are recall petitions brewing against, well, not against Governor Cuomo, but against Governor Newsom in California. And there's a recall petition against Whitmer that is collecting signatures in Michigan. A judge just ordered that this recall petition is valid and it can move ahead if it gets the adequate number of signatures. We're putting Gretchen Whitmer, you may say, on the political chopping block, and it couldn't be a moment too soon.